does it automatically as soon as I hit start.
Water redeem. I'm drinking
And
water.
welcome to this episode.
Yes, welcome to this episode.
Welcome to this episode of the Real Super Geeks. On the 2nd of April, 2022. No fooling today. My name is Ross, the Eyebrows of Doom, live, love, play himself, and I'm at my sister-in-law's bedroom because we're babysitting the kids, broadcasting from my phone. So pardon the ad hoc nature of my setup tonight. Joining me, of course, is my array of co-hosts. Justin, the man behind the buttons. How you doing?
I am doing quite well. As you can see, I'm kind of a little different setup this week myself because my microphone XLR cable has decided to get a short, so I am using my headset. So I apologize for the audio. I'm doing my best. Other than that, yeah, it's been a pretty good week. Got everything all unpacked finally and all settled in. I'm getting my furniture next week. So that will be a nice little plus. I got my studio kind of set up. A bit of a mess right now. Not quite done yet. I will hopefully have windows behind me next week when they have a nice little view going on in the backdrop whenever everything's all said and done. Other than that, yeah, it's been pretty good. Pretty good week. Going to be a busy week.
All right. And joining us from the bridge of the USS Ash Ketchum, it's Greg. How you doing?
Doing good. Having a good week so far. Had a day worth of meetings. My new follower. Damn.
Damn it, Greg! You shouldn't be doing that when you're on stream, man. Oh, I feel sorry for you.
Well, I got my new follow on here on Twitch, Geek Shack. Big things coming between the two of us. It's a local card shop and game store. Had a meeting with them today, so we will actually be doing some cool things Pokemon wise in the coming weeks and days. And
oh, here comes the bratwurst himself. The one, the only, the Carlos Pedraza, who is free from a buffet and live on camera
with a bowl of cereal.
Oh my!
How you doing this week, Carlos?
3 minutes. Hey, Ross.
Yeah, we're kind of just doing the little introductions and whatnot, we're waiting on Sun to get here, so.
So how you doing this week, Carlos?
I had a good week. It was spring break.
Don't want you choking on us.
It was a good week. It was spring break, so I just got home last night or yesterday afternoon from Palm Springs.
Wow! Nice. So apparently my Twitch is having a episode,
and not in a good way.
What's spring? It snowed here this morning.
What? Wait, what?
It was snowing this morning.
You're kidding?
No, I am not kidding. It's Iowa.
It's Iowa.
Okay, Carlos, we went from having 70-degree weather down to 32 degrees that same day. So,
hey, Ross, is this heaven? No, it's Iowa.
Hey, Persephone keeps forgetting something in the underworld, so it's back and forth up here. Anyway, we got a great show for you guys tonight. Greg, why don't you run through the Trello this week and let everyone know what we're covering?
All right, guys. So welcome to the show, and hope you guys will have a fun night. Tonight, we're going to go over a few things. We're going to be reviewing Star Trek Picard and Halo. Looking forward to that. A few quick topics we want to get over. Good news for the MonsterVerse. Godzilla vs. Kong has a official sequel announced and in the works of Legendary. This will be in tandem with the Netflix anime Kong series and the Apple TV series for Godzilla. For the ultimate nerds of nerds and lover of B-movies everywhere, Mystery Science Theater 3000 returns for a 13th season. So, and in some somber but good news at the same time, Wakanda Forever Black Panther 2 officially has wrapped filming. It is expected to hold its release date with no delays.
All right. Thank you, Greg. That's what we got to look forward to tonight. So let's roll in to our first topic while we wait for our final host to arrive. And that is, well, since we did kind of fubbed last week's episode for several different reasons, we got a double header. We got the last 2 episodes of Star Trek Picard to cover. So the crew arrives in the past, 2024, the very near future. They split up to well, no, they don't split up. Wow,
They do split up.
Are they?
my brain is splitting up on me. The Picard brings the ship down in the middle of the abandoned Picard vineyard in France. They scramble what power they have to try and get the ship running, repair the Borg Queen, and save Elnor's life. Unfortunately, much to the chagrin of our shared friend Travis, Elnor does not survive. And a desperate attempt by Agnes to bring the Borg Queen back. Oh boy, oh boy. Meanwhile, with what little power they have, Seven, Raffi, and Rios transport into Los Angeles. It is an improvised, precise transport, and they end up scattered throughout the city. While Seven and Raffi reconnect rather quickly, Rios ends up transporting 12 feet in the air, does a double gator off the back of an escape stair, and face plants into the pavement, getting sent to a nearby clinic specializing in the undocumented. While he recovers from his concussion, he finds out a little bit about the time, just in time for ICE to show up and
Screw everything up.
Be their charming selves.
Yes.
yeah. So of course he goes to jail. A cage. Anyway, Girardi tries to bring the Borg Queen back with a partial assimilation. We think it goes quite poorly because it is quite dramatic and Picard is almost traumatized. But we find out Agnes is far more crafty than she appears, and she managed to steal the information from the Queen in addition to reviving her. And we also find out the reason for the Picard line's strange English accent for a Frenchman. His family has resided in England for the better part of a century after the Picard vineyard was captured and taken as a command base by the Nazis.
It always comes down to Nazis.
Well, World War II, it's kind of a focal point for history.
I did like how nonchalant they did it, though. Picard's like, yeah, we just lived in England for these amount of years, and they kept going.
Yeah.
Yes, finally solving
the accents,
thing that
the tea,
drove
everything
me-
else.
Yep.
Hey, at least the producers didn't make Patrick Stewart use a fake French accent for all this
The
time.
entire thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that had been bad.
You've heard
I mean,
the
imagine
story he
Chekhov
tells.
with that command.
You've heard the story he tells where he actually auditioned with a French accent, and it was awful.
Yeah.
By his own admission, it was awful.
They wanted them to be
Hey,
friends.
we got a taste of it in season 1. Rolling in to this week's episode, Picard, at the end of the last one and into this one, Picard uses the transporter to find the Watcher using the coordinates obtained by Agnes. He finds himself at 10 Forward in Los Angeles, at the very same bar where he had just finished speaking to Guinan, finding a younger version of Guinan, a version we'd never seen before. And I think that was pretty damn cool, although, unfortunately, a few very vocal people did not. She seemingly doesn't recognize Picard right away. She doesn't recognize him, but she recognizes his name. After a bit of persuasion, Guinan is able to connect him to a supervisor. And if you're a fan of TOS, that should ring a few bells, as a purple mist whisks him and the supervisor away.
As Carlos, I called that one last week. Thank you.
I
Yes, we
called
did.
that one before then.
Oh yes, you
And
did.
don't forget that the supervisor is the spitting image of none other than Laris.
Of
the Romulan.
Laris. One of the weird quirks of time travel. That certain people in the past can look like a completely unrelated person in the far future.
Much like whenever they had the bus scene and Eleanor magically appeared.
Well, that was
Yes,
a
but
totally
we'll get to
different thing.
that.
Yeah, that was a totally
That
different
was
thing.
yeah. It was a little, but we'll get to something similar as we find ourselves in the home and in front of a board featuring a certain Dr. Sung, a name we should all know and love quite well. He is passionately giving his case to use genetic modification to find a treatment for a debilitating congenital disease one his own daughter is suffering from. Although, word to the wise, if you're trying to convince someone that you're doing something for good, probably don't lead with the phrase, "Imagine I am a god."
Yeah, and then you
Ray,
know
hold on.
He
Sorry.
is.
If I may, Ray, when someone asks you if you're God, you say yes.
Well,
Nice
the
one.
Sims do not have a history of, shall we say, humility.
or playing
I'm
by
playing
the
with my
rules.
squats in.
No, it is most certainly a genetic trait.
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
And then,
Uh,
listen,
Dejected after being rejected in more ways than one, he returns home to his daughter, who is the spitting image of Soji.
Which actually makes
Bet.
sense.
Yeah,
it
yeah, it
really
does. Of
does.
course, the
in the long run.
image of her would be carried on in some form or another, and of course preserved in art, where Soong does his best to test his latest treatment in failure. But as he is at his lowest point, a message appears, and a mysterious being leaves a calling card on a 3D printer, the first image of a functioning 3D printer in Star Trek, which is pretty damn cool, and an actually functioning number with a very amusing voice message.
It is. I called it.
So did
Yes. I called it.
As did we all.
I. And this is not doxing, since it is.
Yep, there it is. Give it a call. It's worth it.
You can't dox a fictional character.
Well,
Picard gives his case to the supervisor, making direct reference to Gary Seven. Meanwhile, Seven and Raffi successfully break Rios out of ICE custody as the bus is moving to a sanctuary district on the border, and make their way back to
Hey, call back
La
to DS9.
Serena. Say what?
Call back to
Sanctuary
DS9.
districts. Call back to DS9.
There have been several. Yeah, we got mention of a sanctuary district last episode too.
Mm-hmm.
They make their way back to the La Serena to find that Girardi has taken a shotgun to the Borg Queen, and that the Queen had patched into the local cell tower network and lured a cop to the grounds. Girardi was able to save his life, wipe his memory, and with the aid of Seven and Raffi, humorously carrying the guy's carcass out back to his car, just in time for Picard, the supervisor, to arrive. We find out that the supervisor's role on Earth is the protection of a single individual, one Rene Picard, an astronaut who is seeing out the latest in Earth's attempt at venturing into the stars, a mission to Europa, where she is said to find a dramatic discovery that brings hope back to Earth. This seeming to be the divergence point. We'll see. Soong meets with Q at a diner, and Q is able to convince him to take the substance that may cure his daughter. He tests it. It works for a moment. And that is when the rug is pulled and Q says, if you want the full treatment, you will do something for me. I need you to take someone out. And as common as the trope is, we now have our threat to Rene, or to Picard. Who knows? And that is where the episode ends. So, we've got 2 episodes to cover. Carlos, what'd you think?
Well, I think this episode of the, what is this, number 5, right?
5, 4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, I think this episode, for me, it tied so many things together, and really dealt with some little reservations I had about the storyline this season, where I felt there was just too much fan service, and and it's not actually. I think, as it turns out, they have been weaving a web of plot threads together that, yes, they call back to a lot of different um, pieces of Star Trek canon, but in a way that is like,
Oh, did anyone notice Rosinko out in the panel during the Soon hearing?
the what?
Yep, there
Was
was
he-
Named
a
Roshenko.
Sergei
Oh,
Roshenko.
Roshenko. Oh, that's
Mhm.
hilarious. Well, that was like the Jackson Roykirk the week before. Um, and it makes sense, actually. Yeah, I mean, I think they're doing a good job of having it all be there for a reason, not just as little Easter eggs to the fans. And I think that the revelation that the person that the supervisor is protecting is Renee Picard, and is Picard's actual ancestor. Um, and she doesn't die. Instead, the diversion seems to be about getting her to not actually be launched on the Europa, scrubbing the Europa project, and that change results in what we saw as the sort of nightmarish confederation of Earth that we saw in the first couple episodes. So I like the way that they're tying it all together. I like the fact that we're seeing, in some ways, the origin of Soji. And she looks subtly different. I don't know if you noticed, but she doesn't look exactly like the Soji that we saw last year. I mean, it is the same actress, obviously, but they've taken pains to give her her own sort of unique look.
A more real look.
Yeah, I mean, like a person.
Yeah.
Well, she's human.
Because she is a person.
Yeah, yeah. And so I thought I liked that attention to detail, and it does sort of, we see a lot of early threads that we see come together much later in history, and I really appreciated that. I think the thing that's interesting to me is that the star of this season is not Picard, it is not Rafi, it is not Seven, it's not Elnor, he's dead. It is Agnes Girardi. I think she
Absolutely.
is front and center this season in a way that really is central, I think, to this story. We have, well, we speculated as to what happens with her. We do find out in this episode that she has been sort of assimilated by the Borg Queen at the very end. That after she shot the Borg Queen to release the policeman, the Borg Queen basically tempted her into getting close enough so that she could assimilate her. And so this
She
grand
felt her
plan.
dying.
Yeah. So we don't know, is the Borg Queen in that body dead? Is she completely inside Girardi? We don't know yet, but it's all very exciting. And we find it out right at the very end, as they're in the middle of a big, covert operation to be able to break into this big gala that apparently has surveillance technology that we don't even really have today, although this is set 2 years in the future. But it's pretty intense surveillance that Girardi is sent in to go take care of, and it's in the middle of that we find out, oops, she's actually the Borg Queen, or connected to her in some important way. And I like the way the episode ended. I really like the cliffhangers they've ended each episode on, for the most part this season. Certainly the last two episodes, and I'm salivating, waiting for next week.
And no filler stuff. It's not like Discovery.
No filler.
Interludes. It's all. I mean, they're just going boom, boom. I know. Poor us.
Interlude.
What you guys keep calling filler is necessary to the plot as it moves forward. You cannot have what you had in the finale if you didn't have what had in the episode prior.
Ross, I totally understand what you're saying, and my issue with at least what I refer to as filler, is not that the plot reveals and whatever aren't important to the bigger, arc of the season. It's just that they're presented in a way that feels unsatisfying in terms of a complete story being told in
or
within the
off.
confines of an episode.
It feels
Okay.
off.
It feels like
It's
um,
thrown in there.
well, they're throwing it in because they haven't figured out a good dramatic way of presenting it, and in fact, what they're doing is just sort of doing an exposition dump in an episode, and without fully resolving anything within
Right.
that episode. And I think there are some writers who they're okay with that. Personally, I'm not, just because I feel an audience deserves to come away with at the end of an episode feeling like there was a beginning, a middle, and an end. And when it's just a beginning and a middle, it just doesn't feel right.
Now, when you say filler, I think packing peanuts, but what we've gotten weren't packing peanuts.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't call it packing peanuts. I wouldn't. I just mean that it throws off the pace of the entire season. Because there are some shows that have done a great job of like stepping outside of the through line of the story and telling, either doing a flashback or background of one of the characters or whatever.
Superman and Lois, for example.
Yeah, but then it tells a complete story there, brings it back to the main storyline, and you see that connection really clearly, and you understand that the story to move forward needed to move to the side for a little bit and then resume. And that, I think, is totally fine. I don't have a problem with that. It obviously does play an important role in the sense that you're talking about, Ross, but you're getting a full story, and that's to me what is the difference.
All right. Final thoughts?
From me?
Yes.
Oh, no, I think I gave all my thoughts. I'll just, kvetch about yours.
Greg, how about you? What'd you think of the last 2 episodes?
I enjoyed them. Nothing really too much of of course, critique, but overall, I love the 2 episodes. To keep it brief, I did love the way Soon came in as like basically playing a god, and the first thing, like I said, came to my mind was Ghostbusters. Like, oh god, yes.
Oh, that's going to get in well.
But it was really well done. Of course, Leah Thompson, front and center. She's the head of that panel, so that was pretty great.
3 episodes.
Sorry,
Yeah,
she starred in this episode.
Yeah.
She was the one who struck down Sung.
Yeah. So yeah, there was that, and of course, I I thoroughly enjoyed Rafi.
You're muted,
and
Carlos.
Sorry
I
about that.
thoroughly
I said
enjoyed.
she also directed the last episode, or maybe it was the
Yeah.
episode before
The
that,
last 2.
which
Yeah.
makes it kind of a nice circle. Anyway, sorry, Greg, go ahead.
And our
Yeah,
favorite
Carlos.
Jonathan Frakes directed this one.
Yes. Jonathan Frakes is Star Trek god. Like almost everything he touches it's fine. So where I had my notes actually. Where are they at? There they are. Okay, so I love that the accent was explained very nonchalant, very on the nose, and they just carried with it. The number 15 fixation Girardi had in the previous episode was very reminiscent to Data with the number 3 in cause and effect.
Yep.
the causality loop. Everyone's favorite Kelsey Grammer episode. Of course, all the callbacks to TOS, City on the Edge of Forever, Gary 7. It's the flag, the Picard flat.
Punk on the bus.
Huh?
Punk on the bus. Thatcher.
The same guy.
Right.
The same guy. And I love it.
Same song.
The song. No. Actually, fun fact. The song when he was in Star Trek 4 was "I Hate You." The song on the bus with Seven and Rafi goes, "I Still Hate You."
It's 35 years later.
Written by the same guy. Written by the same writer from Star Trek 4. He wrote the new one with one word difference.
Well, no, the verse leading into it was different too.
Yes, very true. I also love I saw a lot of complaints about this one. Guinan pulling a shotgun at Picard. I'm like, if you didn't watch TNG, she is always packing. She's always packing heat.
Yeah, like whenever the crew went mad, she shot into the ceiling in 10 forward.
Exactly.
Tap Q. I mean, she is not afraid to fuck somebody up if she has to do it.
And so I loved the portrayal, though I can't pronounce the actress's name to save my life. She portrayed Guinan beautifully. So I absolutely love that. And we're all in agreement here. Girardi and the Borg Queen. Holy shit.
Chewed the scenery.
Yes.
I
my
I love the Borg Queen. She is so amazing. Like
And
just
Girardi as a board queen. Could you imagine if they went that if they go that full route?
I
We'll
think
see.
okay. So since this is gonna roll back in season 1, or this season, it's gonna roll back to what happened on the Stargazer. That is Girardi.
that
Yeah,
is Girardi.
it is.
We said that last week.
Yeah.
So it's no, we didn't. We didn't have a show last week, Carlos.
Yeah,
Well, the week before then.
But so I'm really looking forward to that. Again, I love the actress who portrayed Guinan, a younger Guinan. She nailed it. She did great. The Impractical Joker's cameo was great. I love that one. In case you didn't, and for those who don't know, he was picking up Luna from Guinan's bar that he's from Impractical Jokers. Leia caught that one like that. It was great to see them fulfilling. The party is going to be very, very much Ocean's 11. Um, I'm just calling it right now. We're going to get a very Ocean's 11 type thing. We got Picard and Rios and tuxes. We've yet to see Rafi and Seven like full blown. So it's just be okay. We have what was it with Sandra? I think Ocean's 9 with the women, Ocean's 11. So we're going to see the combination of those two in Star Trek. And I love that the end of the episode with Girardi just sitting there, like, yeah, I'm ready, guys. And then about 5 seconds later, the Borg Queen like this, like, oh, basically, oh, honey. That was great.
Something that just occurred to me:
Mm.
Are we going to get a heist a season in Picard? Because we kind of had a heist last season too.
That's true. That's true. Maybe, well, there's only one season left, so,
One heist a season. We got it.
Hey,
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay as long as it's done tactfully, and it looks like they're doing. I mean, they're taking great care this season, so I'm quite impressed. I'm much more impressed with this season than I think I was last season so far.
Well, Justin, how about you tell us how impressed you are by telling us what you thought of these last 2 episodes?
Okay, well, my God, the callbacks, the Easter eggs. I mean, it's so well done. With everything with 10 Forward and Guinan. And for those who are bitching about Guinan not knowing who Picard is, if you know anything, if there's no Federation in the future, then Picard does not go back into time. And therefore cannot meet Guinan in the 1880s. So that timeline does not exist because Data does not exist.
Well,
as
okay,
we know him.
here's another way to explain it. In Star Trek, when they correct the timeline, it fixes itself, so they don't know. Guinan, yes, the El-Lorians, we don't know much about them, but very much
Right.
going to affect her. Like, hey, the timeline's fixed. Oh, great. Who are you? That's exactly what happened. So
Yeah. So well,
If you want a
actually
good
explain-
explanation of it, David Mack, a Star Trek author, does a really, really good one.
Right. Yeah, he did an interview with Variety about it and explained the whole thing of why past Guinan doesn't know future Picard. And so, I mean, pretty cut and dried. Bill's stupid argument. Anyways, to keep on going, love the callbacks, love Thatcher on a bus. That was great. Impractical Jokers, all that. Now, the Girardi bit. This is going to turn out to be interesting, I think, because she is to become the new Borg Queen. She's going to be a different type of Borg Queen, I think.
an erotic Borg.
Well, very different than the usual evil Borg, and I think it's going to wind up being the whole thing that slapping Picard around about the timeline is because Girardi was actually doing something good. And Picard fucked it up by blowing up the Stargazer in the future.
Well, maybe. I have a couple of questions for you guys.
Just like he did it in All Good Things, with the temporal rift thing.
Sure, but I think I'm getting, and maybe I just watched it wrong, but my sense was, well, first we have Q saying, I'm sending you and your crew back to fix what you messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But when he sends him back, he's there.
He's the one
messing things up. So, like, which is which? Like, what's the real motivation here?
It's Q Jr. I'm calling it.
Maybe. I don't know, but I'm still a little confused by it, frankly.
Well, Q doesn't have his powers, so I mean, obviously something's gone very, very, very wrong if Q doesn't have his powers.
Well, time
Well,
is broken.
sure.
Time is no longer Q's ally, as he said in this episode. But there's one thing that I want to point out. You guys are talking about Girardi like she's already the Borg Queen.
Well, I
The
mean,
Borg Queen
working
is
on it.
inside of her right now.
Mhm.
Well, I have a
And
theory about that.
let me finish, Carlos. And I think one of the big dramatic moments of this series is going to be the internal war between Girardi and the Queen.
Right.
There is going to be an epic mental battle that I am just so eager to see. There's going to be a lot of time and a lot of drama and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears between what's going on now and whatever Borg Queen that we saw at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, my theory is that she is a lone queen. She's disconnected from the rest of the collective. And so I think what we're seeing here is not an assimilation, it is a merger. And, because normally when the Borg assimilate someone, they're assimilated into the entire collective, which is huge.
Right.
It's billions, maybe even trillions of drones and, and a few queens. But in this case, there's only one other consciousness involved.
What is the Queen?
And it's not a
without her
collective
hive?
consciousness. Exactly. And so I think that it's much more like what you're saying, Ross. It is an actual war, potentially between equals, as opposed to the way it would normally be if the Queen was connected to a collective. So I think that's why it's not going to be as simple as, oh, well, now she's the Borg Queen. It's really the Borg Queen and she are one. And what are the implications of that?
That is an interesting thought that I hadn't considered before,
Yeah.
Carlos.
Ooh, could you
When
imagine?
someone's assimilated, like when Picard was assimilated, it was his will versus the entire collective.
Mhm.
When anyone was assimilated, it was them versus billions. And we saw how hard Tuvok struggled with it when he was assimilated, how hard Picard struggled with it in Best of Both Worlds 1 and 2, and in all the moments after.
What
And
if
of course,
what if
even Seven, who spent her entire life, her early life in the collective, how hard she struggled with being alone.
well,
Yeah,
what if
they've given us a lot of clues around this. In every episode this season, since we've seen the Borg Queen, she's talked about how quiet it is and how painful the quiet is and how she's alone and disconnected and everything. And we know she doesn't have the power she normally has.
right.
And
so
how predatory she looks at Girardi.
Mhm.
Well,
What?
at
Okay.
one part predatory, the other kind of longing. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Justin.
Okay. What if we see a true partnership between Girardi and the Borg Queen instead of them
That
fighting
would
the Borg
be
domination? If they just decide to work together in order to save everybody.
Well, I
Because
think
they
that's
work
the
together and save.
eventual thing.
Yeah, there's going to be a slight battle, but I think eventually they're going to team up because not only does Girardi have to save everybody, the Borg Queen's going to have to, she's going to want to survive too. So that means going along with whatever Girardi wants to do. And if Girardi is in control, then I think, I think it's going to be a very interesting season.
Let's put a pin in this discussion because our aquatic matriarch just arrived. Son, how you doing?
I apologize, everyone. I misread the time thinking we were doing the whole push back an hour thing again. Yep.
Well, you're here now, and that's the important thing.
Way to go, Justin.
Although a certain sound is due, Justin.
Oh, yes. Just for you, son, on this occasion.
Okay.
What does that even mean?
It's Boo-womp.
Oh.
SpongeBob.
Oh, right, okay.
Boo-womp. All right, son, what did you think of the last 2 episodes of Star Trek Picard?
And where the hell are you?
Okay, so, well, starting off with the where the hell I am. I'm with not Laris. Oh wait, hold on.
Hey, OBS, I know that.
Yeah,
Hey, I know that background.
I forgot to start the camera. There we go.
Why
Okay.
am I in 420?
I'm with not Laris right now.
That's very private.
Is it though?
That's exactly what she said.
Yep.
Dum dum dum.
Is
You
it?
doing his best Sigmund Freud impression.
So, okay, I have to ask this question because you guys are like 30 minutes in. Did anybody do it? Or am I
Yes,
going to?
we all did it.
No. It's like, did anybody do it on air?
No.
Which one? No.
No, nobody's done it on air. Well then, may I?
Go for it.
Okay. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and make that call.
If I
Let's see. There, where's the speaker button?
Hello, you have reached the Q Continuum. We are unable to get to the phone right now because we are busy living in a plane of existence your feeble mortal minds cannot possibly comprehend. Furthermore, it's pointless to leave a message because we, of course, already knew that you would call, and we simply do not care. Have a nice day.
Nice.
Oh, John Delancey, you're a national treasure.
Well, see, I want to say that this is a number that they've used before for something like this.
Oh well,
just-
On
yeah.
Picard?
Not Picard, but like I swear this was used in another, like, it was another Delancey kind of viral marketing thing, because this is a California like number. This is a
Right.
Los
Yeah,
Angeles
it's a-
number.
Yeah, it's a Los Angeles number.
Because I want to say Delancey has done another thing like this where you called a certain phone number and it was him that picked up, but it was like him playing another character.
It wasn't
Oh,
Discord, was it?
What was that, Ross?
It wasn't Discord, was it?
I don't think so.
Well, what was another show that was recent that Delancey's done? I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember what show it was.
Breaking Bad.
Maybe.
I honestly don't
We'll
remember.
research it and we'll put it in the Trello and we'll bring it up next week. How about
Yeah.
that? That way we can
But,
figure it out.
Yeah, no, I wanted to do that for the show. I had to take notes last episode, not this week's episode, last week's episode. Which my last week's episodes have a what for this week too, because one of them kind of carried over with hey, this is really important that we not do this thing that we already just fucking did. So, transporter in broad daylight in front of a sports arena with a bunch of cops.
Mm-hmm.
No thought of the temporal prime directive whatsoever until this episode.
Well, except they were in the car, so with tinted windows, so it wasn't absolutely clear what was going on.
Seven had her window rolled down, though.
But is
They
that,
shot her
is that the
window
window
out.
that was
One of the windows
on
got
the
shot
side
out.
that was facing them?
The camera made it seem like they barely got a look inside when the transporter effect happened.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
they didn't see the transport happen. I know that, but it's just, yeah.
I don't know. All I know is like the where they stopped is literally a sports arena. Like that building is literally a sports arena in real life.
Or it's formerly the Staples Center where the Lakers play in basketball.
Most of the records at the time get blown up in the Third World War anyway.
That's true.
So we meet Guinan, not Guinan, but still Guinan. And she spends an entire 30-minute, like what felt like 30 minutes, telling Picard, no, I'm not going to help you. He's literally asking for the Watcher. She said multiple times she's not the Watcher. And she couldn't just explain what the Watcher is earlier? It would have cost her fucking nothing.
Well, why would she though?
The turnabout is getting him to the Watcher. Explaining who the Watcher is costs her nothing.
Yeah, but she didn't know who he was till he mentioned his name.
Yeah,
or
until she mentioned his name, there was no reason for her to.
But
think
like
he was-
she already knows he's an alien of some sort.
No, well, technically he's not. He's human. That's what she knows. That's what she knows he is.
But he is an alien to the time period.
Well,
She
but
could be anybody. It doesn't matter who he is. The important thing is who he is when he tells her his name.
Right.
Yeah,
That's kind of the point. Look. I'm not the Watcher. The Watcher is the person who does this thing. That's not me.
And then he's trying to get to the Watcher from her because he thinks she can lead him to her.
right, he has every reason to believe that she can't help him. Every reason,
And she doesn't want to, considering the reaction the Watcher gives her when they see her.
Right,
Which
they
is-
obviously are not friends. And again, she doesn't see any reason up until he makes her throw up to think that he's worth helping him do anything. Makes complete sense to me.
It doesn't to me. Like if you want to get someone off of your back, you literally are like, look, I don't know what a woman is. I'm not a biologist. If you want to throw someone off your back, you literally throw out the information that they're looking for. Like,
Well,
I'm not the Watcher.
one
A Watcher.
option.
Look, I'm not a Watcher. A Watcher is a person who does this very specific thing, tracking people throughout timeline to fulfill their destiny. That's not me. Stop thinking it's me.
Well, sure, but why would she volunteer that to just some guy who's walked in off the street claiming to know her?
Because if you keep getting poked in the back saying, hey, you're the thing, you're the thing, you're the thing, you're literally going to do that to get them off your back.
There's lots of ways to get people off your back without
All right,
revealing
moving
something
on.
that's,
So, the blind people both are and aren't not Laris.
correct.
Gary said
So we were both right.
Yeah.
Nice. So the last note that I had for the last episode, not this episode, but the last episode, is Q with no powers is the continuum itself dying. As in, not necessarily dying, but essentially reaching the end of their physical existence. Like, we know that they're able to do things like transmit energy and all that stuff because they're like omnipotent beings, but is this the end of their physical manifestation?
Well, it's either the Q continuum or Q himself because the timeline's all fucked up. Events in the next generation never happened where Q got his powers back.
Q said that time may no longer be his ally. And since time is broken due to the events of either him or the Borg, he is losing or has lost his abilities. That's what I got from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's still a big mystery. I don't think we know enough to come to any real conclusion. And they've obviously kept it deliberately vague in expectation of some bigger reveal down the line.
Which we may not get this season since this is a
No, we
two-season
will get
arc.
it this season. Well, we'll find out.
This episode in itself is I don't okay, so the last scene of the last episode, right? Was Q going off on his monologue and then trying to snap his fingers as if he was going to change something and nothing happens. All right?
Directed at who we now know is Renee Picard, who was reading a Dixon Hill novel.
Who was literally seated like a table or two away from him when he was monologuing? How does this scene take place? I mean, I can understand getting absorbed into a book, but like Q was literally open mouth monologuing.
Well, first of all, we don't know exactly
Okay.
how far he was away, and secondly,
And that,
I ignore people all the time in public if I don't want to pay attention over
and
reading
any
a
other
book.
time.
yeah, I was out today hanging out with a friend, and there was a table 2 meters away. Couldn't hear either one of us talking, but we were both talking. So it's like, yeah.
Considering her reaction at just that moment, I think she was focused on the book and not anything else.
Maybe. It seems weird. Another thing that seemed weird this episode. God, Q, you are desperate for this to not happen.
Well,
Because on
yeah.
the one hand, you're physically trying to talk her out of it by being a therapist all of a sudden. And
Thank you.
then I was right again. Not a bullet. Not a bullet. It's a vial. It's like a Jurassic Park vial of DNA.
Khan's
It's a
blood.
little glass vial. A little glass vial. A little glass vial.
Khan's blood.
Maybe. Not
Doesn't
entirely
exist.
sure.
Yeah. Oh wait, it does exist.
It does.
That's a different.
Mhm.
It does exist.
Yeah,
They
'cause
made
they never really
reference
explained
to
what
a
happened with Khan.
convention that we haven't heard before, and I
Yeah.
think that might be an allusion to however they chose to resolve the eugenics wars.
Yeah,
Which
we don't
happened
really
in
know
the
how the
90s.
eugenics wars
wait,
proceeded
we
in
don't
this
even know.
timeline.
Yeah, we don't even know if those have even happened yet in this timeline.
They happened
the
in the
eugenics
No, they
wars
did.
happened in the 90s.
Yeah, in Star Trek that happened in the 90s, so the eugenics wars have happened.
1996.
But this is okay. Wait a minute. Okay, I've had this like argument before somewhere, and I can't remember where the hell it was. Oh, it was our friend Dayspring, Ross, because of the whole Guinan, not Guinan, but still Guinan thing from last episode.
Yeah.
And the whole point is that, like, when the whole reason they had the lady from Back to the Future, like, directing 2 episodes, and then now she was like one of the head counsel in this one, is that they're kind of riffing on Back to the Future in a weird way, in a reverse way, when all the shit that happens because Biff goes back into the past with the almanac. They go back in time to a changed future because it was even further in the past.
Right.
The argument that was made was that all of the stuff that was happening even was changing itself because of a past or of a timeline that no longer existed. So, like, for Guinan wouldn't be Guinan wouldn't recognize Picard because the timeline that exists would not have Picard going back in that timeline, so she'd never have actually met Picard.
We've actually
We
had
talked about that
before
a
you got
little
here.
bit already.
Yeah,
I need to move forward here because
the way Dayspring explained it was that you would fundamentally change the timeline so much that even if the point of difference was this moment now, there would be stuff even further back in the past that would have changed.
You know, that's actually a theory that's been propounded around the Kelvinverse, with the whole, Sulu being gay thing. I think was at the center of that, that there's something about a sufficiently profound, in this case, the Romulan mining vessel being sent back in time was a sufficiently profound event that it actually caused changes in both directions of the timeline. Maybe. I did watch this episode and wonder, okay, how did the eugenics wars happen in this timeline? It's so much like ours, and obviously we didn't have a eugenics war. in our own timeline. There's a great, actually, I think it's a series of novels, not canon, but they're out there, that talk about that kind of, retcon the eugenics wars as something that happened completely in secret from most of the world, but that they actually did happen.
Gary Seven versus Khan.
Yeah. And I think I read the first one. I think it's 3 novels, maybe. I read the first one. It was pretty intriguing. I like how they kind of worked with that theory. So
we got to get rid of the deep state.
another theory that I've heard, that's because of the Third World War, that records were damaged and lost, and things were the dates could be off if they ever they can use that as a reasoning to.
But we know it still happened because we have
Except
assumed
the date, the year 1996 is officially referenced by Khan.
Yeah, of that timeline.
Anyway, we could talk about this all day. Let's roll on in.
So,
what else? What other thoughts do you have, son?
So, did anybody else immediately know that the effects were going to be temporary, and laughed when it happened?
Yes.
Not laugh. No.
I laughed when it happened.
I totally expected it once I saw what happened.
Mm-hmm. I expected it to happen, and when it happened, I laughed because it's like, Soong, you fucking idiot.
Desperate men.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with Khan's blood.
It is enough, Justin.
Yeah, give up on that one, Justin. It doesn't matter what it is.
Is anybody curious how we develop shielded drones in 2 years?
Well, he did. We don't know that that's like technology everybody has.
But it's the same technology that's in the future protecting the planet, it looks like.
No, it's totally different. All this does is filter sunlight. They're not like force fields.
I mean, that's kind of what those shields did. They were protecting.
But we don't really know what those shields did.
They explicitly said they were solar radiation shields.
Yeah, Q said it.
Well, then that makes sense, doesn't it?
I mean, I guess so, considering they worship Soong in this future, or in that future.
Yeah.
But, like, wow, to develop it in 2 years, God, somebody get on that now. Like, that would be nice.
Well, according to certain alternate timelines, they're supposed to have self-sustaining fusion reactors by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of I mean, it's like we have thorium reactors, so
we have quantum transporters.
And in another, people were supposed to start sprouting horns and tusks, and goblinization was supposed to occur last year, but that didn't happen.
Have you seen the body modding community in the last 20 years?
I'm talking about spontaneous growth here.
Have you seen the modding community in the last 20 years?
I was making a Shadowrun reference, you jerks.
I've never played Shadowrun, so. Yeah, no, this episode is just like. Q this episode makes me confused and not in the, ooh, I wonder what's going to happen, in the more of a, what the fuck are you doing kind of way.
Yeah, that's exactly what you were saying. What I was saying, I think before you got here, was that Q's motivations and everything that's happening with Q does not completely make sense to me right now.
I wonder if it's 2 different Qs.
Maybe.
Stop it.
No, I mean, it's Q, but it's another version of him that's causing all the problems while he's trying to fix it. And they're cut off from the continuum, so they both don't know what's going on.
But we've only seen one version of Q.
Yeah, but it's the same Q in different points of that timeline.
Well, remember, as a member of the continuum, they sort of exist out of time, in a way. But
like the prophets.
Yeah, sort of like prophets. Except they don't give a shit about things, whereas the continuum does, or at least this Q does. But here's the thing: remember that, and we've seen this happen. The Q can strip the continuum can strip this particular individual of his Q powers, making him a regular mortal human, in which case he is bound by time. So we may be
Time
seeing,
is not his friend.
yeah. So we may be seeing an earlier version of Q that is bound to a timeline, and would not have his powers because that's the thing that would bind him to this timeline.
I would have thought that if not for several of Q's lines in this episode, saying that he is suddenly experiencing limitations and that time is no longer his ally.
Yeah,
implying
right.
that he is running out of time as well.
Well,
if he's mortal, he's literally running out of time.
Yeah, I mean, if he went back in time and is now stuck there because the other self is there and the timeline's been changed, and because Picard never redeemed him in the Next Generation.
You guys are all dancing around a central point without actually making it, but
because we don't know it. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, you're right.
Q has been desperate from the beginning of this series.
Yeah, Q's been desperate from the beginning of this. Something is different in the continuum, period. Not just Q. Something is different in the continuum. And here's why. Because this is what I mean, you're all dancing around an issue. The Q have always fucked with time. Remember Death Wish?
Tapestry, all good things.
Well, no. Not necessarily. Not Tapestry. Tapestry was the whole letting Picard see his life in a different way.
Christmas Story.
Death Wish. Quinn.
Which one was that one?
The one with the suicidal Q. Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
Quinn is actually responsible for Riker's great-grandfather staying alive because he meddled with time.
And Woodstock.
And with the Woodstock, yeah.
And a whole bunch of other stuff.
The Q have meddled with time, being beings outside of time, and nothing like this has ever happened to them before.
All good things.
But this particular Q and Picard have a history of, Q being able to redeemed by that Picard. If that Picard's future is different than the events of the Next Generation, did not happen.
It could be that the breaking of time, as we've seen in Picard, is far more substantial than any manipulation that the Q has done before.
Right.
Which would explain the Borg showing up in the beginning of Picard. Asking for help.
Gathering everyone in the right place.
And requiring power. Because if they and that's the whole Borg Queen hooked up to a thing to do the calculations thing, that would require a tremendous amount of power, right? Yeah, no, something is desperately screwed up with time, and I doubt that this moment is the key moment. Something even more fucked up is going on.
Which is why we have 2 seasons.
I honestly, how do you know?
I mean, they said it's the story arc.
They just said they were filming 2 seasons back.
I've seen them say that the story arc was going to expand in the next season.
We don't really know what that means.
Except that Drexler's already shared a picture of the Stargazer Bridge from season 3.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. Sure, the Stargazer's saved. We expect that to happen this season. That doesn't mean that the entire storyline is basically broken up into part 1 in season 2 and part 2 in season 3. I think that's a big leap that's not supported by evidence.
Okay.
So did anybody else think this whole Rios thing went on way too fucking long?
Actually, it felt pretty good considering what we got in Discovery and it's stretching things out. I mean, it seems like they're really taking great care of this storyline to kind of A to B, B to C, C to D. Move from point A to point B to point C. Move the plot along and not drag it out.
It also kept the crew distracted long enough for the Queen to get into some shenanigans.
Yep.
We've spent 3 episodes of basically nothing happening on the Rios end of things.
Well, I mean that's the central character. Picard and Girardi are in this one.
Sure, no, I understand, but they've devoted it makes me think that this was them trying rather blatantly to do the whole immigration thing because nothing else is going on during it.
Yeah, because they got to show. I mean, that they've already established sanctuary districts and everything else going on at this time period. So I mean, they had to have that backstory in there because if not, people a bitch.
And it was Raffi rashly pushing ahead to find a solution before she had all the information to try and solve it.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it went on too long, honestly.
Maybe.
What aspects of it do you think dragged? Like what?
So they were going. The whole point of them going was to find the Watcher. Like that was the whole point. Was them going to find the Watcher.
The whole point was Picard to find the Watcher. They were going. They're going to check out. I think they were looking to you, but Picard ended up being the one to find the Watcher.
Yeah. Raffi, Seven, and Rios went out to try and track signals to find the Watcher.
Right.
Yeah. Which Raffi and Seven did, but then they couldn't find Rios because he got transported 12 feet in the air.
And face planted hard.
And face planted. So, quick thing, according to Akiva Goldsman, season 3 is not related to season 2. It's a completely different story.
They've lied to us before.
What does Akiva know? He'll be fired like Alex Kurtzman.
Anyway, that's
incredible news yesterday.
I mean, they've lied to us before.
What was the incredible news yesterday?
Alex
April Fools.
Alex Kurtzman was fired and Lori Loaded quit YouTube.
Which made a lot of people happy till they remember what day it was. Then they're like, "God damn
it!" Anyway, any final thoughts, son?
Here's where I'd like to comment on what you're saying, son. I think the reason they spent so much time on the Rios part of the story is because they're trying to show what there is going on in society underneath this all that makes it a logical extension that without the changes that Rene Picard would make in terms of bringing hope back, what we're seeing here in this sort of fascistic, growing fascistic state is what ends up being the Confederation, 200 years later. So that's why I think they're delving into that as much as they are, because they're trying to show that it's already there. It's already started. I mean, you can even make the case that's happening in our own world and timeline right now. So I think that's why it's there and why it's appropriate.
Excuse me, I'm just checking my tricorder.
It's a pad, excuse you.
Tricorder in Picard.
But yeah, no, the I don't know, this episode and with Q's intentions or like all of that, this is the one episode where I go, do I really want to watch the rest of this season? That's how this episode left me.
Nah.
Really? Wow.
Nah.
It made me really want to watch the rest of the season.
That's
a bad thing. I'm agreeing with Carlos there.
I mean, no, that's a bad take. Sorry, I can't agree with that.
She's entitled to her opinion.
Yeah.
Greg, look. There's a reason my title is. There's a reason my title is the Contrarian. So.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is. Greg, did you say you agreed or disagreed?
I agree with you on that one. Like it makes me want to watch the rest of the season.
And you're the resident New Trek hater, so I mean, that says something. We have to strip you of your title.
No. He's the Discovery hater.
Yeah.
Oh, you hated Picard last season.
Did he?
I didn't hate Picard last season.
I thought you did.
No. Now, when Lower Decks comes back, the hater comes back.
All right, let's wrap this up. We're looking forward to the next episode. We've got a heist of a sorts. We've got a man down. We've got a lot of drama ahead of us, so I'm looking forward to where it goes, and I know you guys are as well. So, Greg, what's next on the Trello?
Next on the Trello is
That's a prank Craig for the show.
we're gonna look at Halo. Halo, the TV series based on the game. Paramount Plus. We are 2 episodes in, and that is going to be our next review. Justin, we're gonna take a shot at that for those who've seen it. Is somebody dying in the background somewhere?
It sounds like Ray's died.
Ross's wife is having a laughing fit.
Oh, mercy!
Hi, Ray.
Hi, Ray.
It's kind of weird being above ground at Ross's place.
He's at his sister-in-law's.
That's what?
He's at his sister-in-law's.
Oh, okay. Well, he's still above ground.
In the bedroom. That's Ray.
What's happening?
I don't know.
That's the bedroom, Carlos. That's a bed.
Yeah, but there's movement going on.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a head, and now it looks like I see hands.
I see a phone.
Should we be broadcasting this anymore?
Well, I mean, they're not taking.
Well,
that we know of.
Yeah. Oh, she's laughing. That's laughter.
No, it's been laughter for the most part. It's like laughter to the point of crying and then laughing again.
Leave the loving couple alone. I did that.
Alea goes, do we need to give them privacy?
Yeah, let's give them some private time till they get back. Yeah, the Ross gets back here.
Okay, I think he's back.
Ross?
You took out my camera, but you didn't take out the sound.
Is everything okay?
I was in the process of taking both out because we should give them some private time.
She found something funny. She was laughing, and that was it.
Okay, how funny, because damn, she's like dying.
It was a cat video.
Oh, Christ.
Of course it was.
It's look, we are no different than the ancient Egyptians. The cat was flabbergasted.
Oh, dear.
I see that look often.
Super work.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I am a cat.
And the comments were certainly gold as well.
Okay, so as we
I'll
sterilely
have her send it to me and post it in the group so you can see what she's gotten so worked up about.
she doesn't want you to share, Ross.
We got to have Ray in the background more often. This is just great.
I got to see now. Ray has my followers in my Twitch chat going, "Yay, cats!" Damn it.
See?
Yep.
Okay, so we are diving into Paramount's other new series, Halo, based on the award-winning and best-selling game for Xbox. Holy shit, the first 2 episodes did not disappoint. Now there are a bunch of complaints because it's deviating from the game. People, it is a show. If they went line for line with the video game, it would be a boring show. I'm sorry, because you cannot control Master Chief at this point. So basically what we have is jump straight into the action. We open with the Covenant, which they did an amazing job with the Covenant. Looks amazing. I love the way everything came out with them. Absolutely obliterating the people in Madrigal. And they hate, of course, the Spartans. Oh my god, people are making me do squats. I will do squats in a second. The people in Madrigal hate the Spartans. The Spartans come in and save the day, try to help them as best they can, and yeah, job well done. Bravo. The Spartans look great. We get Master Chief, his silver team behind him. And of course, then he ends up saving a young girl named Quan. And then all it just goes south real quick because he touches the artifact. Yes, I'm going to do my squats, Justin. Distracting me here. So we get amazing.
I can take over if you need to.
Go for it, Ross. You're better at this than I am.
So there's a lot going on in the Halo series. We're just going to do a quick reaction so that we're not spending another hour going over this. But the Halo series is not what you'd expect if you're expecting a one-for-one adaptation. It is a new take
An adaptation
on the story of Halo. And that naturally has a lot of, well, not a lot, a very vocal group of people very annoyed. I've seen certain people in a certain circle complaining that once again we're getting a series where a female protagonist is sidelining the person who should be the primary antagonist, and also complaining that the Master Chief takes off his helmet far too soon, expecting him to be just the Mandalorian again.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah.
But I find what they're doing very interesting. As Greg was summarizing before, they did an excellent job giving exposition through a very natural method.
Right.
You got the idea that the UNSC, the United Earth Government, has been in conflict with itself as its outer-lying colonies are being fed up with exploitation and demanding independence. And that the UNSC and the Spartans especially were not created to fight the Covenant. They were created to fight insurrectionists or rebels. And that was incredibly brave of them to introduce like that. They are showing the UNSC in a very dark shade of gray, as it should be portrayed.
Right.
The UNSC is not a shining beacon of freedom and hope. It is most certainly a
Confederation?
No. It is not fascist, but it is
Close.
Shockingly and disturbingly familiar.
I mean, okay, I read all the same reviews the rest of, you all did about, everybody that was complaining about before we even saw the goddamn thing. And, once I saw it, I was really surprised. I was like, this isn't anything at all like they're describing. I'm like, this is actually really, really good because it actually kept me interested. I didn't get bored. I didn't want to, skip through anything. I just sat there and watched it because I was like, holy shit, this is actually pretty good. I like to take on the story. And I watched the first and second episodes all the way through after the second episode came out. And, it really made sense on, how they're doing this because you don't really want to do it like the game. The game was a mess. The game storyline was kind of a mess where they didn't. Went back and forth on a couple things here and there, depending on
That's Bungie. What did you expect? Everything from Bungie's kind of a mess.
Right.
4, 5, and 6 are a bit of a mess. 1, 2, and 3 are fairly coherent.
Well, yeah, but and they were expecting, and people were expecting, that story. Which no, you can't do that story. This is going to be something a little bit different, and I'm liking the direction that they're following it. We haven't gotten to Halo yet. I'm wondering if we're going to get there before the end of the series. We're actually going to.
We're definitely. It's Halo. We're getting to a Halo before the end of it. Absolutely. The costumes, the sets, most of the sets.
The Warthogs. Oh my god.
Yeah, the Warthogs are awesome, but there were a couple weird modern Chevy Tahoes in the beginning that looked out of place. But the music, the sets, the Master Chief's armor is perfect. All of the costume and set pieces are beautiful. And addressing at the end of the first episode, the Master Chief does take off his helmet and we see John's face. My thoughts on this: Master Chief in the games was the player insert.
Mm-hmm.
He was there for the player to put themselves in the armor, and he could be anyone. It's very hard to do that in a TV show. And in this instance where he takes off his helmet, he's trying to get Juan's trust, to show her that he's not about to follow the assassination order he was just been given to kill an 18-year-old girl, or 16-year-old girl.
Yep. Well, see, even in the games, the first few chapters of the games, I mean, you never really saw the Spartans because, that was the general idea. The player was inserted. The player was the Spartan. John was the player. You were John. They never had the face. So I mean, I find the complaint stupid. It's just people wanting to bitch at this point, and I don't even think half of them that were bitching even saw the goddamn thing. They're just going off of
Probably
what
not.
other people see. Other people were seeing, because it was nothing like what was being complained about. It was completely different. Because I heard one of the complaints was that it takes place in modern times. No, it doesn't. It's set in the future. I was one of the YouTubers saying it could take place more times. No, it doesn't.
No, there's just one or two modern trucks in a set background. That's it.
You know, at this
Oh.
point, they could be. At that point, they could technically be considered classic vehicles.
Probably are.
Certainly,
Who knows?
certainly. Greg, what'd you think of Halo?
I loved it from the get go. Episode 1 had me hooked in. The second the Covenant came in, and it started. This is gonna sound terrible, but the second they started shooting, and killing the kids, I'm like, oh, they're not fucking around. Like this is straight up.
No.
This is straight
There
up.
were
We're
severed
gonna.
limbs.
No,
There's
the
limbs,
whole
By
heads.
Showtime, folks.
look. The whole point of the Covenant was that they practically started a holy war.
Your destruction is the will of the gods, and we are their instrument.
Exactly. And so reaction is I loved it. Getting our first looks at Fleetcom, at Reach. The Condor looked amazing. I know you guys like the Warhawk. The Condor was amazing.
Yes.
And the Pelicans, of course, like it was all so well done. The actor who plays John is actually Liev Schreiber's brother. I found that out. And the credits, I was like, wow, Schreiber's like, really? And I looked at it, he's related to Liev Schreiber, who played Sabretooth in the X-Men, well, in Origins Wolverine, everybody's favorite. But I loved it. When he took off his helmet, that is different than when the Mandalorian took off his helmet, in a sense that he doesn't need to wear it all the time. It's there. He's gonna take it off, It's not permanent thing. It's not a creed like Mando is. But he took it off at the same reason Din did, which is a human moment, taking it off to say, hey, I can see you, I'm here. So I can appreciate the fact that where they're going with Master Chief is looking amazing. One of my favorite characters is actually Halsey. I know she's got seems like she's got an ulterior motive, but she's very much don't let them get near John. She tells the other Spartans, even against friendlies, you defend John. So, I'm surprised Justin hasn't called out that the Admiral. Oh my God, I forgot how to pronounce her name. But I'm surprised Justin hasn't called her Kai Wynn 2.0.
She's most certainly a Kai Wynn.
Yeah, she. I was thinking more of a Ducat, but we'll see.
There's a bit of empathy for Ducat. Kai Wynn just. But I loved it. All the haters that are smack talking it. Like, I get where they're hating it, but you have to understand you can't make a frame for frame video game thing like this. Sonic deviated, but everybody loves Sonic. We're into an era now where we're getting great video game adaptations into media. So Sonic has been great. Detective Pikachu, Halo, and of course I'm sitting here begging for Gears of War now. It's like, you just did Halo, you can do Gears of War.
I want another Mario Brothers.
A Mario Brothers. They can probably do a Mario Brothers. So
look, the Mario Brothers movie was actually really good.
Okay, for the time,
as one of the worst movies of all time, maybe the best one of those. But Halo is really going to be one of those shows that it's grabbed me. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. And talk about conflicted character. Schreiber is portraying John very, very well as conflicted. I appreciate the little backstory we got with him finding his buddy Soren. That it's like, okay, we see what happened. You were going to stop him. You gave him 5 minutes. He got away, but to sit there and then come back and be like, you're the only person I can trust. And of course, Soren is very much, I got you. I don't like you all that much because of what you did, but I got you. And for everybody bitching, oh, a female protagonist distracting our hero. What did the hero just do? He left her to go handle shit. So
he put his helmet back on.
Yes.
So I'm going to call Greg out right now.
Okay, go ahead.
All of this against the haters and shit. Dude, The Super Mario Brothers movie?
Uh-huh.
What the hell did you want? Actual fucking little toadstools running around?
Don't make the movie. If that
Then why the hell are you defending the Halo series?
We didn't ask for Escape from New York.
this is true.
Or Battleship.
Or Battle.
Shut your
Uh-oh.
mouth.
Or Battlefield Earth.
Ooh.
It's not as
I
bad
was
as
making a
Battleship.
reference to what the movie felt like, and you just threw out two just objectively bad movies.
One of my followers, Aubrey, she goes, "It was an amazing, good, bad movie." To Mario Brothers.
So back to Halo. Son, have you watched it?
No, I haven't watched it because I have no connection whatsoever with the Halo franchise at all.
Mhm.
So watching the Halo series seems like extremely out of place for me. Like I've never even watched any of the Red versus Blue stuff. So like I'm out of Halo. There's nothing for me to reference in any of this.
So do you have any interest in watching it?
No, but the way you're describing it sounds a lot like the USMC is no, we're not going to let you do a separate from the Union. We're not going to let you all succeed on the border colonies.
Yeah, kind of like
the Empire must rule all.
How about you, Carlos? Or have you watched it, or do you have any interest in watching it?
Well, I tried watching the first episode, and I don't play the game, so I don't have like any kind of connection to it. And so I'm looking at it with zero background. There wasn't enough to grab me. It didn't look terrible, but I just don't know. So I've watched like the first 10 minutes,
which
and it was enough to grab
Okay,
me.
boomer.
I understand that one.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I understand that.
I
If
know
you
lots
are,
of boomers who played Halo.
right.
In fact, they were
I
probably
mean,
among the first customers.
I can understand how not if you're not invested in the game, the series is kind of like why that's totally rational and totally reasonable.
Okay,
outcome.
we'll take this one. I see where Carlos is coming from. I do see that. So, we'll take Leia for instance. Leia had never played Halo, and I asked her, I was like, "Hey, do you want to watch the first episode?" She did, and basically opposite of Carlos, she got hooked into it right away, and so she's very intrigued to see where the show's going. Of course, I have to explain some of the references from the game to her, but overall, this is like you don't like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. You don't have to have had to play the game to understand what's going on. It helps, but you don't have to.
All right.
Yeah, and that's one thing I said earlier that I think the series has done very well is introducing the setting.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, they did that quite well. I mean, I loved how the story. And I'm just gonna throw my 2 cents in now. I mean, I loved how they did the story with this. They started it off and just kind of threw everything together in a new way to for those of us that played the Halo games and were big fans of it could follow along, and even people that really didn't, they could kind of get the gist of what was going on if they stayed long enough and watched past the first couple of minutes. So I really if those who haven't seen it yet that might not have played Halo, give it a shot at least through the first episode because it really kind of helps you out. I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's everybody has their own taste, but it kind of does as well as setting up being its own thing separate from the games, which is what they're trying to go for. But yeah, let's see. I think next what we're going to do, we're going to talk.
Greg, what's next on the Trello?
So a couple of things we can. One thing I did want to point out. This is for the video game side of things. I know we talked about this pre-show, but I did want to address it. Epic Games announced that through in-game purchase content, announced that through in-game purchase content, Epic Games raised $50 million to help refugees from Ukraine going to relief organizations. So that's a bravo to Epic Games for doing something like that. All 100% of the proceeds from this in-game content purchase is going to the relief organization in Ukraine.
Screw Randy Pitchford, but that's good news.
Fuck you, Randy Pitchford. But hey, good job on that one.
If you're feeling funky and fuzzy and furry, Xbox and Microsoft have just announced Sonic and Knuckles custom Xbox and controllers, and yes, they are furry. We have a blue. Yes. We have a blue furry Sonic controller and a red furry Knuckles controller with the Xbox
Why?
Series S. The S fan on the side is a golden ring.
Carlos might dig that.
So,
I
Furry
think
things.
Carlos's gesture there encapsulates
Yeah.
all
Well, you like
our
it.
reactions as to
I
why.
want to take a
This isn't,
You like
son,
this
what?
isn't
hold
a
on.
fuzzy. This is
You
a
like
fuzzy
what?
controller.
I just don't know why. Well, I mean, could you imagine trying to keep that thing clean?
It's an inch and a half of fur.
Could you imagine keeping the thing?
yeah.
Oh my
Cats
God.
do it.
Okay,
We're
we're
not-
talking about cats.
Well,
not
look,
human.
I'm not Olivia Munn. I'm not gonna lick my fucking controller.
Or Amaranth.
Amaranth yeets her controllers, especially if they're furry.
Oh.
No,
Yes.
I actually want to take a step back just a little bit to say that Epic Games keeps doing that free game every week thing. This week's free game, for those who are interested in Total War and Warhammer without the 40K, that's the free game they're giving away. Total War Warhammer.
Fantasy.
Yeah.
It's,
It's a $60 title they're giving away for free.
I'm going to head over to Epic Games here in just a few minutes.
1, 2, or 3.
I think it's the first one.
I've already got that one.
Yeah.
But
3
it's
is
a good
on.
one.
3 is on Xbox Game Pass.
I did add to the Trello. I just didn't add an image card to it. It's actually under what Greg was talking about with Epic raising money. Yeah.
Well, no, we don't. Let's. Yeah. We got all of our topics are locked before the show. If we.
I do want to put out one somber topic. Bruce Willis has been diagnosed with aphasia.
Yeah.
A man who gave us the greatest action and greatest Christmas movie of our time, unfortunately will be stepping away from acting, as announced by his ex-wife Demi Moore, his current wife, and his children. And I just want to let that out there that yes, he will be retiring, and I hope for the best, but the diagnosis with something like that is not good.
Jim Carrey is also stepping away from acting.
Yes.
That's because he's a crazy person.
Well,
Jesus.
He won't be gone for long.
No. But yes, so best wishes to Bruce Willis's family. I hope he can enjoy what he has.
Question: isn't aphasia what they were talking about Robin Williams having?
either.
I don't think so.
I think that was
No, Robin. That was something different. Robin was he was fine, quote unquote, until his death.
I think that's it. Yeah, he had something else. I'll have to look it up.
For those who are wondering, I know we know, but for those who are wondering, aphasia is unfortunately losing the ability to understand and communicate with people, with anyone in general. So he will soon not be able to understand nor tell anybody pretty much anything.
I thought it was just the inability to say what you wanted to say. You'd think one thing, but different words would come out of your mouth.
He won't. The diagnosis states with this, he won't be able to understand either. That's the crap part.
Oh, that is bad.
Yeah, that I can imagine being like that.
Wasn't there an episode of Star Trek like this?
There was, but I think
I'm trying to think now.
it
was DS9.
Deep Space
DS9.
Nine.
Oh yeah, Babel.
Because Cisco and his son and not being able to understand each other and all that.
Yeah, because the replicators got poisoned and everybody on the station got sick with the Babel and all that. Yeah, I remember that one.
Did you guys talk about Will Smith's leaving the Academy?
No.
Yes, he's
We're
resigning.
not touching any of that.
Nah, no, we're not.
I'm with Daniel Radcliffe. I've grown
Yes.
exceedingly bored with the entire thing.
Yeah. Radcliffe, yes.
Yeah, it's really.
So
I just,
to close out, to close our last topic, then for those who have seen Moon Knight, reactions, good, bad, Justin.
I liked it. It's for a bootleg back man, it's starting off pretty good. Looks like we might. I don't know exactly how they're going to play it. With the actors only signed on for one season and no extensions, and he has made it known that because of what happened to him in Star Wars, he does not want
Go further than
go further than this first season. So we could be seeing if they decided series to go on after this, we could be seeing a recurring, either a new main lead be put in place, because Moon Knight is known to change hosts from time to time. So we'll see how this plays out.
Carlos, did you get a chance to see it or no?
Sorry, I was on mute because I was coughing. Excuse me. No, I have not seen it yet. Saw the trailer, read a couple reviews. I'm going to give it a try because I read the comic book like long time ago, and I liked it. I don't remember why I liked it, but I did like it at the time. So I'll give it a chance.
I did remember that, right? That Moon Knight does change hosts from time to time. Did I get that? Yeah, I thought I got that right. It's been a while since I read the comics. Kind of showing my age a little bit.
I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, like I said, so 6 episodes won't be very long. Basically one season, one and done. So clearly come with a new host if they do continue the character. I know, Ross, you haven't seen it. Son, what about you? Didn't watch it either?
I've seen a bunch of articles talking about it. I've seen zero advertisements saying available now or a start date, so I didn't know it was out. So, like I said, if I was going to watch a superhero thing, it would be this one, because come on. I've told you all multiple times when I saw all we got was the fucking title card, and I'm like, hey, it's Marvel Sailor Moon.
Here's the big question, though. How many of you are interested in seeing Morbius?
Interested in seeing it? Yes.
Want to see it? Yeah.
Want to see it? No.
I've
heard.
Might go see it in theater just because I might get a free movie pass, but that's about it. I'm gonna wait for Sonic and go see that in theater.
If anything, I would wait for it to come out on a streaming platform and actually see it.
Well, it'll be on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah, eventually.
No, Morbius actually should be coming to Netflix. Sony signed a deal with Netflix for theatrical releases to go there. That was about a year ago. So Sonyverse.
It's a Sony. Okay.
Yes.
It's in the same vein as Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna give it. I'll give it until it goes to streaming. I just kind of skim it, and if it holds my interest, I'll watch it. If not, I won't bother.
It's a licensed Marvel thing, but it's not part of the MCU.
Thank God.
Alrighty, well, if that is the last topic, let's go into our final topic of the night. What are we watching? And let's lead off with our latest arrival, Son.
So, Ross, the mutual server that we share, the Singularity, yes. For the past 2 weeks, I've been doing Saturday matinees in the server. And I was extremely pissed off at Netflix this week because, no, I should be pissed off at Warner Brothers, because this week's plan to watch was Hook. And guess what got pulled on the 31st?
Hook.
So instead, I gave a couple of the server regulars a good long watch at a 90s classic. Probably one of the most underrated Macaulay Culkin films, Richie Rich. And the fun thing is like a bunch of the stuff like in that movie he invites the kids to his mansion and then they do fun stuff, right? And it's like half of this shit is shit Southerners do once a week. Like play tag on ATVs. Like that's not rich. That's a thing Southerners do.
Or shoot each other with airsoft guns.
That's a thing Southerners do.
Ain't never done that.
The catapult. That's some shit a redneck would do. You may not buy a roller coaster to put in your backyard. You just wind up building one, but still. Yeah, no, it's quintessentially 90s because it's pre like modern cell phones. So the dad link, when you watch it, it's like, oh wow, this is a really early smartphone. In the time where they're still using the half brick, half flip phone, you know?
I had one of those.
Sidekick.
So yeah, like wow, like that was great. Like just and you know, the majority of the people that I'm showing these movies to were born after the year 2000. So it's like I'm culturing these kids.
Yep. Yep.
The fun thing is they're all over 18, so I'm very looking forward to showing them Barbarella.
Oh no!
Oh no!
No!
Tank Girl?
I have to find Tank Girl, but yeah, I want to show them that one too.
My chat is going, oh yeah. My chat's going, oh yeah, that one too in reference to Barbarella.
All right. Anything else?
Not I mean I'm not looking at YouTube at the moment to go to scroll through my history. I can't remember anything specifically from this week other than that, because that's been like the highlight of my week more than anything.
All right.
All right. Thank you, son. Carlos, what have you been watching this week?
You're muted, Carlos.
You're muted.
There, sorry. Come back to me because I have to look at my Netflix history because it totally went out of my mind.
Greg, what have you been watching this week?
Well, of course, our typical shows: Star Trek, Moon Knight, and Halo. But aside from that, I'm rewatching a favorite show of mine, Madam Secretary, and waiting for the rookie to come back. So other than that, that's pretty much it. Oh, I'm doing a complete rewatch. Here's Ross is gonna hit me for this one, Justin. I'm rewatching Dragon Ball Z with a bunch of interludes.
DBZ or DBZ Kai?
It just says DBZ. It's on Funimation. DBZ. It's uncut.
Oh, by the way, just a little quick reminder: if you want to watch a fun Dragon Ball Z dub, go watch Team 4 Stars Redemption. Thing of it.
Oh,
they do a bridged. Yeah,
you will fucking love every last minute of it and laugh for days.
So, Greg, I assume you'll be at that for the next 2 years or so.
Funny story. I'm actually almost done. It's because when you skip the intro, that's 4 minutes, and then you have 14 minutes of show.
Yeah, because they never really changed the intro unless it's the
when I said
and you
uncut,
just ignore that.
When I said uncut, I meant uncut. Like there's still the blood, guts, and gore and cursing. It's just English stuff. But the kiddo likes it, so my son is getting into Dragon Ball Z. So when I watch it, he's watching it with me.
All right. So anything else?
That pretty much wraps it up. For that, just Dragon Ball Z, Madam Secretary, the rookie.
Oh yeah, that's right. That came out this week.
Thank you, Greg.
So I did watch something else this week. So for those of you who know who Perry Grip is, you might not know who Perry Grip is, but I bet you probably know one of his most famous songs. Raining Tacos.
What?
It's raining tacos Out of the sky, tacos. No need to ask why. Okay, well, he released basically part 6 of like this saga of songs around the raining taco song because it's what made him famous. In fact, it's what got him a gig as a cartoonist slash like basically he uses like the mix of the person who does the animation for his music videos and him doing songs, and somebody like paid him to like do shows like a cartoon show, kind of like Lucas the Spider got gobbled up by Cartoon Network. So he released a new song this week called Tortilla Avalanche.
That makes sense. It's a sequel.
Okay, Ken. Who was next? Because we need to stay on.
You or Carlos?
Carlos,
Justin,
you ready?
you go.
Okay.
No, I'm not
All
ready
right,
yet.
Justin, what did you watch this week?
All right. Let's see here. So I've been watching, I've been playing. I decided to pick up the classic Destroy All Humans remastered. I started playing that last week, and I've already played through the entire campaign. And it is somewhat therapeutic to walk through a game and pick up a body and slam it to the ground, or throw it into a fire, or throw it into the lake. I mean, yeah, it's
Justin, have
on
you
Game
seen
Pass.
someone about your anger?
Yes, it's called video games.
Anything
Video
else?
games, great aggression. Other than watching, let's see. Other than the Moon Knight and Halo and our normal Star Trek, I've been on a DS9 rewatch. I'm on season 6. I started it a couple weeks back, and it's kind of been going back to it, but I've been sticking with it. Pretty much on the regulars, and like actually have the ability to sit back and watch things in peace and not get screamed at or have fire alarms go off. It's really, nice to be able to sit back and watch things now. Oh yeah, I watched the Adam Project and
Oh, that's
Superman
right.
and Lois,
Adam
which
Project
is amazing.
was really good.
And Superman and Lois, the last couple episodes, holy shit. I think they're really going somewhere this time around. It's one of the best CW shows going on right now. Yeah. Other than that, I think that says who's next. Carlos, are you ready yet, you boomer?
Carlos, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I am, and I actually think we've been watching a lot of the same stuff this past week. I finished watching Gilded Age on HBO Max, which had its season finale. Totally worth watching because it's got Christine Baranski in it, and she's incredible.
I'll have to check it out.
But it's definitely worth a watch. And then, of course, yes, I agree with you totally about Superman and Lois. I think I really love what they're doing with the show this year. I love what they're doing with both sons. It was kind of cool this week to see Jordan begin to become a superhero. And it felt cool. Like, he felt cool saving people. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I also like what they're doing with John, who's the supposedly non-powered brother. But things are happening with him, and we don't know exactly what. But we do meet at the very end, like Bizarro John, and he's dressed like the Superboy from the comics, which is kind of hilarious.
Yes. I saw that, and trying to figure out what exactly happened to Superman this last episode, because it's kind of like they start off and
he went into the Bizarro universe, and we don't know what's happened to him since.
Yeah,
we know that he arrived too late, according to what John says, but we don't. That's the point. We don't know what we don't. He's been gone for a month.
Yeah, so
now that you finished one series, how about watching Blood of Zeus on Netflix?
God.
Yeah, that's right. I do still want to watch that. It's on my list. I'm behind on everything. There's just so much on television right now.
I feel
there's so much going. There's so much going on. Oh yeah,
Blood of Zeus was good.
Person that is still trying to catch up on Lucifer final season.
Oh,
God,
there it is. There it is.
That is how you do it, Justin. You let it simmer. let it go, and then wait for the perfect moment for the best impact instead of spamming
Oh,
constantly.
I'll tell you what, something I did watch recently that I really liked, I think was on HBO Max. It was one of the animated Justice League movies,
which one?
and I've been really impressed. I watched the one, the Justice
They've all
Society
been really
one.
good. Yeah, that was really
Yeah,
good.
the one where the Flash goes back in. Oh,
That's one of the
I guess
latest
it
ones,
just
I believe.
yeah, it's one of the latest ones, and it was pretty good. And where Aquaman's actually a bad guy, and it was kind of awesome. And so it's made me want to actually check out more of the DC animated universe
It's actually
stuff, because most of it is on HBO Max now.
right.
So because I've heard really good things, I actually have been motivated to start watching Young Justice.
It's good. You'll
yeah,
love
Young
it.
Justice is
Do it. Do it.
Yeah, so it'll be there soon.
I highly recommend the 2 animated Adam West Batman films.
Mm-hmm.
Really
They brought
animated?
him and the surviving cast back to do 2 feature-length classic
Because I knew they were doing
Batman.
a comic called Batman 66.
Yeah.
No,
Of it,
it's
so
that style. It's those characters. They got William Shatner to come on to be Two-Face.
all right, yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Check out.
Though Batman
all of
Ninja probably isn't for you.
them. Yeah.
Probably not. I do want to see Injustice because I've been reading a lot
yeah.
lately
Yes.
about it, and although I'm starting to get super tired of the evil Superman trope, it's just like
Injustice
Well,
doesn't
if you want a good one, check out Red Sun, Superman Red
Yeah,
Sun.
Captain Lorca is
oh yeah,
Superman.
that one I know. I
Yeah.
read the comic version of that.
Yeah.
All
It's,
right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carlos.
What DC needs? What DC needs is Martian Manhunter going evil.
actually, Injustice.
Not really.
He's
in
kind
that
of
case.
evilish. Yeah. But
Hey,
yeah.
well, thank you, Carlos. As for me, my son has a new obsession:
Oh boy.
Minecraft Story Mode.
No.
Ooh.
no.
That's
Okay,
not a
that's
bad
actually really
obsession.
sweet.
It is sweet.
Yeah, so it's something a little different each time, as he
Mhm.
just randomly pushes buttons as the options come up. But I have been watching a lot of the first episode. A lot.
I'm
of
sorry.
the first episode.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
I've seen a lot of the Creeper launching fireworks and the Enderman launching fireworks, and well, Witherstorm. It's everywhere. It's absolutely.
You know, the funny thing is, I really think the dev team for Minecraft Story Mode pulled like a lot of inspiration from Neebs Gaming because they did that Mob Squad series.
Oh yeah.
Because that's how I felt with a lot of that stuff.
But I did get a few things in for myself this week. Though I'm blanking hard on what it was. What little free time I have been playing through Horizon Forbidden West. I'm on the final mission, but I'm fleshing out a bit more of the world. I got my last loyalty quest done. I'm taming more robot dinosaurs and everything else, and it's just been a joy to play. It's such a fantastic game with wonderful characters, and this time around the villains are a bunch of millionaires who sailed off into space right before the apocalypse, destroyed the world that they came from, and then came back to wreck this one and remake it. So
As one does.
mild social commentary there. Also, not exactly something I watched, but something I do want to share. I know it probably won't mean much to you guys, but it's something I'm really kind of excited for. So, back in the late 80s, a small company named Games Workshop decided to spin off their successful Fantasy Battles game into a sci-fi game that they called Warhammer Rogue Trader. And they had a whole bunch of weird little kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of things. They had Alien. They lifted stuff from Alien, from all sorts of sci-fi stuff to make this stuff. They even had they transplanted their fantasy stuff into it. They had space elves. They had space knights, but they also had space dwarves, which they called the squats. So when they finally started to get serious about this little game of theirs that they renamed Warhammer 40,000, they were figuring out what to do with these squats, and they were fun, but they were kind of jokey and not really serious, and they were going for grimdark. So the squats just suddenly got what the fandom is called squatted. They just said, yeah, the squats were all eaten by the Tyranids and don't exist anymore. Well, about that. Yesterday, Games Workshop made a little tease, saying that the squats are back. And of course, everyone brushed it off. Like, it's April 1st. They're going to say all sorts of crazy stuff to, April Fools, haha, you thought the squats were back.
Is this where we find out that dwarf mining game is actually a Games Workshop game? That space dwarf mining game?
Their inspiration, but no. The squats are actually back. It was a double bluff as the League of Wotan. It's really something that they reached that far back and managed to take something that was initially kind of jokey and unserious and just kind of a parody in the game, and have made the effort to make something different and unique. I mentioned space elves before, jokingly, but the Eldar in Warhammer 40k are, although admittedly very elven in appearance, are unique to the setting. They don't bear any blatant resemblance to anything else that's come before. And if they've pulled off the same thing with the League, I'm very curious to see where they go with it. Squatting is a thing of the past.
That's your cue, Greg.
What?
No. I've done enough squats.
All right. Well, that will do it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight and geeking out with us about all the things that we're excited about. It's been a hell of a week. I hope that your weekend goes well, and we'll see you here again next week, next Saturday, for more of the Real Super Geeks podcast. My name is Ross. Live, love, play. Greg, where can people find you?
Find me at
Emotional damage.
That made no sense.
Greg's
Anyway,
emotional damage.
if you guys are watching currently, you're in the right place. If you're looking for them in the channels,
Why? Sorry, I didn't press it.
Justin's being possessed over there. You can find me at twitch.tv Mongoose Gaming 88. For those of you watching right now and interested, we will be streaming a Pokemon Go tournament tomorrow. So if you're interested, tune in, and that's where you can find me.
Or for those that don't like Pokemon, you come over to my Twitch for something better. Mortal Kombat 11.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh.
Son, where can people find you?
You can find me at twitch.tv/Sunseal. If you don't like Mortal Kombat or Pokemon Go, you can watch me stream Stardew Valley tomorrow.
Ooh.
I'm playing the mod Stardew Valley Expanded, which is amazing because it adds like characters and expands locations and stuff. It's great.
I might be.
What was that, Justin?
I might look into that. I'm also looking into PlanetSide too. A couple of friends of mine trying to get into that old game. They're like, "You ought to come play this." I'm like, "Okay, I might jump in." It's not free to play, so
All right. And Carlos, where can people find you?
I'm at axemonitor.com and the
No, you're not.
Axemonitor Facebook group.
No, you're not. Lies. You're never in there anymore. Lies.
I read all the time.
The last
Next week,
newsletter
I should be getting back into semi-regular streaming as well, back to mini painting, as well as a couple of my old games like XCOM. So
Just saying, Ross, that Leia's having.
You should have waited so that I could watch you stream Horizon Forbidden West, you traitor.
I wanted to experience that game without the pressure of streaming.
Just saying, Ross, Leia, and the kiddo over here are having withdrawals from your streaming, so hurry up.
Aw.
Aw.
All right. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining us. Have a wonderful night. And until next time, remember to live, to love, and to play every day. Son?
Wait, and from Sun? Yeah.
What's the deal with Q? Remember, sweeties, you are loved and appreciated by just your being you.
Justin plays us out.